Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto x Anko x Kurenai x Tsunade x Taiyuya, part 4. Subscribe if you enjoy the video. Let's start the story. Hokage Tower. Hiruzen sits at his desk with his ancient enemy before him. It has been just under a week since the end of the second round of the exams. 3 genin from Suna, 1 from Odo, and 6 from our own Hiruzen thought. The O-sensei a voice crows, and Hiruzen looks to the window to see his student Jiraiya the gallant. "Oh, good to see you, my boy," Hiruzen says, but dreads this meeting. The white-haired man steps through the window as his Jetta sandals clack on the floor. "So what brings you here, Jiraiya?" Hiruzen asks. "Well, the Chunin exams are here and I need to do some research. Plus I could maybe teach Naruto something." "He's in the exams, right," Hiruzen says and sighs but shakes his head. "So he didn't pass. Oh well, there's next time," but Minato passed on his first try comments. "No, Naruto-kun wasn't in the exams," Hiruzen says, and Jiraiya was confused. "He didn't even graduate," Jiraiya says, and Hiruzen sighs, rubbing his forehead. "Nico, fetch Kikutsuki," Hiruzen says, and Nico appears, before vanishing with Leaf Shunshin. Jiraiya cups his chin in thought at the name, Kikutsuki. "I've heard of that name from my network, took care of several large bandit camps in Earth Country." "Indeed," Hiruzen replies. A few minutes pass, as Hiruzen lights his pipe. "You called for me, Lord Third," a voice croons. Jiraiya looks around as Naruto appears behind him. "I see the shameless one has come," Naruto says, disguising his voice. Jiraiya meets Kikutsuki, otherwise known as your godson, Hiruzen says, and Jiraiya's breath hitches, whipping around. Naruto removes his Anbu mask with a blank look on his face as Jiraiya turns back to Hiruzen. "Anbu, why is he an Anbu?" Jiraiya says. "Why do you care?" "You've never cared before," Naruto says. "Look kid, I know I haven't been there, but I needed to maintain our spy network," Jiraiya says, but notices how pale Naruto is. "So you were more concerned with outside threats than your own godson." The adage village before all, Naruto muses, reaching in his coat for his cigarette case. "If you're an Anbu you know what's out there," Jiraiya says. Naruto lights his cigarette with a small drag. "I do. I've been an Anbu 3 years, but not really by choice," he says. "Not by choice," Jiraiya says. Hiruzen leans back in his chair and taps his desk with a pulse of chakra to cause the remaining Anbu to leave. "Jiraiya, an incident happened 3 years ago. Several ninja and civilians attempted to kill him," he starts. "One of the Jonin used a Doten jutsu and opened a hole to an underground cavern. Inside was from an era-long pass that being offered me power and I took it," Naruto continues, and Hiruzen frowns. "You just took some unknown power when you didn't know what it would do," Jiraiya says. "You're right, but I was desperate. I've been treated as less than human all my life. I was kicked out of the orphanage at 6 and constantly harassed by the village as a whole. So in a moment of weakness I took it and became what stands before you, the No-Life Duke," Naruto explains. "No-life questions. It's a title. Naruto-kun is a being known as a vampire. It's a new bloodline. It gives him paler skin, fanged canines, and a hunger for blood," Hiruzen says. Naruto sighs and makes his way to the window. "To keep me from killing anyone due to my new bloodline, he placed me in Anbu to feed my hunger, and I climbed the ranks to captain," he says. Jiraiya didn't know what to think and took a seat in a chair. "How could this happen to the prophecy?" he says. "What a prophecy?" Naruto says and looks at the blonde. "The toads told me a prophecy that a student I taught would change the shinobi world," Jiraiya says, and Naruto growls. "So you taught my father and thought he was this child of prophecy, but he died, so you moved to me. But instead of raising me or having someone do it, you left me to the demons of this village. Then you appear before me and dangle the chance to be the student of the great Jiraiya who taught Lord Fourth and who himself was a student of Lord Third," Naruto states. Pain builds character. "I know you were dealt a shitty hand and I left you, but things happen," Jiraiya says. "Yeah, things," Naruto says and heads for the window. "Wait, Naruto, I want to take you as my apprentice and have you sign the Toad contract as well. Even teach you to use the Kyuubi's chakra," Jiraiya says. "Have you ever trained a Jinchuriki?" Naruto says, and Jiraiya shakes his head. "Then how could you teach me how I don't need to use the Kyuubi's power anyway?" "Toad contract I'll pass, and the same for apprenticeship," Naruto adds. "I can teach you your father's famed jutsu," Jiraiya says, but gasps as Naruto forms a Rasengan in his right hand. "This one, or you mean the Haraishin?" Naruto says. Jiraiya internally gnashes his teeth with a shake of his head. "I can prepare you for what's to come," he says, and Naruto furrows his brow. "There is an organization hunting Jinchuriki Orochimaru as a member. They're called Akatsuki. Every member is S-class and you need me to train you," Jiraiya says. Naruto reaches into his coat and tosses a pair of pictures into Jiraiya's lap. "Akatsuki, interesting choice of words," he says, giving another pair to Hiruzen. "Who are they people?" Hiruzen asks, but notices the shocked look on Jiraiya's face. "Jiraiya," Hiruzen says. "Where did you get this?" when Jiraiya says. Naruto taps his ashes out the window. Danzo was in secret communication with Hanzo the salamander, but that stopped some years ago however, due to Hanzo's paranoia. He closed off Omegakure after the Third War, and that allowed certain things to happen he says. What things? Hiruzen asks. The civil war with those two being the winners. The man is called Pain, and the woman is Naruto. Konan Jiraiya interjects. How do you know that Jiraiya? Hiruzen says. Jiraiya looks at the two pictures with a sigh. Do you remember the 3 orphans I took in for a while he says, and Hiruzen nods. Their names were Konan Yahiko and Nagato. I spent time and trained each of them, but Nagato was the most unique. He possessed the Rinnegan stars. The eyes of the sage of 6 paths Hiruzen says, and nods. I instilled in them my ideals and trained them until they could take care of themselves, Jiraiya continues. If that is true, why didn't you bring them back to Konoha? If this Nagato had the Rinnegan, maybe he could have helped with the Kyuubi attack, Naruto says, slightly pissed off. I didn't know they wanted to liberate their country. I couldn't fault them. Then I heard news that they were killed and I moved on, Jiraiya says, and Naruto scoffs, shaking his head. Then obviously not, Naruto says. But why does Yahiko have Nagato's Rinnegan? Jiraiya says. I don't know. My clones dispelled after getting their looks. What does Nagato look like? Naruto says. Red hair and the Rinnegan eyes, Jiraiya replies. Shadows cover Naruto's face with gritted teeth, so not only did you train someone with a famed Dijutsu, but he could have also been one of my clan, Naruto says, but bursts into a murder of crows, out the window. Hiruzen sighs and rubs his forehead. Jiraiya, it would be best if you leave Naruto-kun alone for now he says, and explains things, before his student could protest. Scene break. Anbu HQ. You can't just hide out here, Dragon says, and Naruto sighs. Besides, wouldn't this be the first place he checked? Dragon adds. Good point, Naruto says, and crosses his legs. Dragon looks the blonde over and sees he is still tense. He pisses you off, Dragon says. The goal of that man. He waltzes in and says, sorry kid, I wasn't there, but hey, become my student, Naruto says. He's concerned with image. He was the dead last of his batch and is doing everything to show up others. Orochimaru is a traitor and Tsunade Senju has not been seen in years. Naruto scoffs and rises to his feet with a sigh. True, he says. Aren't you training your cousin? The dragon asks, and Naruto shakes his head. Anko and Kurenai are helping, Naruto replies, leaving the dragon's office. Naruto leaves Anbu HQ and he vanishes, appearing near the Golden Leaf Hotel, but in the form of a beautiful woman with long black hair, dressed in a fitted white 3-piece suit. Naruto heads to the penthouse room of the hotel and knocks before it opens to reveal a young woman of about 16 with white hair and dark green eyes. She wears a white cloak with a uniform similar to Sai underneath and the right sleeve missing on the cloak. Naruto follows her in, and Victoria sits at a table with an identical girl to the one who opened the door with black hair, but she wears a black cloak and the left sleeve is missing. Have Shiro and Kuro been guarding you well? Naruto says, returning to normal. Victoria nods with a glance to Tuna agents. Yes, and they are teaching me enough to defend myself, she says, opening a briefcase. Naruto takes a seat across from Victoria and reads over the documents. Any issues with Gato's associates, he asks. No, Naruto saw Makuro, and I dealt with them when they appeared, Shiro says, and Naruto nods. But Victoria, I want you to network during the Chunin finals. Also, I want you to go to the various casinos in Fire Country and buy the debts of Tsunade Senju, Naruto says, signing some papers. In what regard? Victoria asks. Tsunade is a notorious gambler and has terrible luck, plus she's a renowned medic. If I control her debts, I can convince her to aid Karen in the future, Naruto muses. Lady Senju is known for her temper, Kuro says. I know that, but she loves gambling more. Set up a tournament in Tanzakugai. She'll be nose open and won't be able to stay away, Naruto states, and Victoria nods, slipping the documents back into the briefcase. Naruto rises from his chair and takes his female persona. Remember to call me Yukiko Kiryu in this form, Naruto says, and all three of them nod, bowing at the waist. Naruto leaves the hotel and could see men looking with lust in their eyes as he makes his way to ramen. Hello, and welcome to the Ichiraku Ramen, AM says. Naruto takes a seat and crosses his legs. Hello, I would like to have large miso ramen with extra fish cake please, he says. Of course dad, one miso, and extra, Naruto shouts, and Naruto internally makes a face. Quaint shop, Naruto says. AM smiles as she wipes the counter. Yeah, it's been in our family for a while, she replies. Do you think of expanding? More customers will experience such heavenly food, Naruto says. We haven't thought about whether I'm content with my little shop, Tucci says, handing Naruto the bowl. The disguised blonde eats his meal with a content look and pulls a card with some money. If you think about expanding, look me up, Naruto says, and leaves the shop. Naruto finds an ally to slip in and returns to normal before going back to and ordering more than 10 bowls. Scene break. Tenten stares at the ceiling of her bedroom and looks at her clock that reads 7 in the morning. The bun-hair Kunoichi gets up and takes a shower before staring at herself in the mirror. Her conversation with Naruto has plagued her thoughts over the past 2 weeks. Could she sacrifice everything she knew for power? Tenten dressed herself in a pink sleeveless kipao-style blouse with red sleeve trimmings and yellow fastening buttons, along with dark green pants. "Morning Ten-chan," Natsuko says, making breakfast. "Morning Mom," Tenten says, and signs. "Something wrong dear?" Natsuko asks, and Tenten looks up. "It's nothing. Just thinking about the exams," Tenten replies. "You did your best," Natsuko says, and frowns 10 times. Genbo comes down with a loud yawn. "Morning you too," he says, and both say morning. "Dad, what would you think of me if I took an easy way to gain power?" Tenten says, out of the blue. "What do you mean, Ten-chan?" Natsuko asks. Tenten sighs and looks her parents in the eye. "My dream is to be a Kunoichi like Lady Tsunade, and I have a way to do that, but the cost is big," she says. "How big?" Genbo asks. "Enough that I wouldn't be me anymore, I would be someone or something else," Tenten says. "What does that mean?" Genbo states. Tenten clutches her forehead with her head down. "Do you remember that Anbu who saved my team?" she says, and both nod. "Well, he came to see me after the exams. He offered me a chance in the corporation." Tenten. "I know a few ninjas, and I don't think those in the corps are inhuman," Genbo says. Tenten slowly nods as Natsuko places breakfast on the table. "Not like I can tell them that Naruto wants me to become a vampire," she thought. The family eats breakfast with normal small talk. "I'm going to check out the competition," Tenten says, and her parents nod. Tenten excuses herself and slips on some blue sandals to make her way through the village. "I should get a perspective from the source," Tenten thought, making her way to Naruto's apartment. The village was bustling with activity as everyone was preparing for the finals and the important guests that would entail. Tenten soon arrives at the complex just as Karen was making her way out with Anko and "Hey Panda," says, and Tenten gives her a slow nod. "Can I talk to the two of you?" Tenten asks, and the pair of vampires look between each other before creating shadow clones of themselves. "We'll catch up with Karen," Anko says, and Karen nods. "That's fine, see you later Tenten," Karen says, and Tenten waves, turning her attention back to the pair. "Can we talk in private?" Tenten says. "Sure." Han is the only one home, says, and Tenten follows them. Kurenai unlocks the door and invites Tenten inside. "What is this about?" Kurenai asks. Hana looks up from her book to see the others, and Tenten, "What's up?" Hana asks, but Anko shrugs her shoulders. Tenten pockets her hands and looks the 3 vampires over. "Naruto offers to turn me, and he knows about the dreams you all gave me," she says. "Do you care about Naruto?" Kurenai says, sitting on the sofa next to Hana. "We knew each other at the orphanage, and we were good friends. Everyone called him some monster, but I didn't believe it. I even cried when he was kicked out of the orphanage, but we lost touch," Tenten says. "Then seeing him again and saving you ignited something," Hana says, but Tenten shakes her head in doubt. "I didn't even know it was him, but I recognized his sun-kissed hair, so I hounded Gai-sensei, and he asked the Sandame, and I learned the Kikitsuki and Naruto were one and the same. However, it wasn't him, but the weapon he carried 10 times. But the dreams change things," says, causing Tenten to slightly blush. "Only because you all gave me dreams of us having sex," Tenten says, nearly shouting. Hana and Anko giggle as Kurenai sighs. "True, but it's because we want to help Naruto." "You are a precious person to him," Kurenai says. "But to give up being human because I'm precious to Naruto," Tenten says. "We're still human. It is just that we need blood to survive. We've retrained our bodies to eat normal foods again, but we get no nourishment from it," Anko says. "We can function during daylight but still have to sleep. Is it that you would hate to outlive your parents?" "I know I'll outlive my mom and brother, but I have a plan for that. When my mom is on her deathbed I'll drink from her and she'll live on in me," Hana says, and Tenten takes a sharp breath. "Answer me this, why did you decide to do this?" Tenten asks. The 3 look between each other. "Naruto is the last link to our sensei Kushina Uzumaki. She asked us to protect him as best we could. Becoming like this is an extension of doing what says. I met him as this cute blonde with a small fox in arms begging for someone to help. I did, and we became friends, but my idiot brother ruined it," Hana says. "Anko and I met him after his first day at the academy. A group of ninja attacked him and we stepped in. We stayed with him until he awoke," Kurenai says, rubbing her eyes at the memory. "Because of our love for Kushina-sama we love Naruto as well," Yugao says, standing behind Tenten. "If you're afraid Naruto won't accept you, don't be Naruto, accept you," Kurenai says, and raises a ram sign. Tenten gasps as she sees herself walking arm in arm with Naruto, then their wedding day, and finally her holding a baby with brown hair and haunting blue eyes. "That could be a possible future," Kurenai says, dropping her genjutsu. Tenten stays stock still, but her eyes are flickering. I need to go, she says, and leaves. Think she'll take the fall, says. We'll see, Kurenai says. Scene break. Konoha General Gaara stares at the sleeping Lee and clutches his head as images flood his mind from Naruto stopping him from killing Lee or people of his past. The cork of his gourd lands on the ground as sand starts to leak out as the Redeed grits his teeth in pain. The sand starts to creep out and makes its way towards Lee, ready to crush him into nothingness as Gaara holds out his hand. Close that hand and be prepared to lose it, a voice says. Gaara freezes and looks back to see Naruto with his hood obscuring his face. You, Gaara hisses as the sand moves from Lee. Naruto closes the gap and grabs Gaara by the face before they vanish with Shunshin. The pair appear near the forest of death as Naruto brushes Gaara back and dodges his sand. You're no match for me, Kimdai, Naruto says, his eyes glowing in his hood. Gaara gnashes his teeth as his eyes flicker. Why did you stop me, he hisses. Because I felt like Kimdai, you're in my domain and no one dies unless I allow it, Naruto says, leaking his kai. Mother wants your blood, I will feed you to her, Gaara hisses as his sand slinks forward. Naruto's chains burst from his back and ensnare Gaara, shocking the redhead as the blonde stalks forward. Calm yourself, Kimdai, no need to bring out Shukaku, Naruto says, and Gaara's breath hitches. That's right, I know about the monster inside because I have a monster inside me too and it has 9 tails, Naruto says, now inches from Gaara's face. He could hear screaming for him to kill Naruto, but his body wouldn't move. I will not let you destroy my existence. I will kill anyone who tries, Gaara hisses with a wild look on his face and Naruto throws his head back for a laugh. Ahahaha, excellent, Kimdai, I'm tempted to ask the Hokage to demote me so I can face you in the final, Naruto howls, letting Gaara go and vanishing. See you later, Kimdai. I look forward to the day I rip you apart and drink your soul, Naruto says on the wind. Gaara clutches his head and vanishes with Sand Shunshin to find his siblings. Scene break. Naruto lands behind Hiruzen on a stone pillar as a group of children look up at him along with, who are you? Shouts. Naruto grabs the sides of his coat for a curtsy. I am Kikitsuki and Lord Third Shadow, he says. Shadow, one girl says. Hiruzen smiles with his pipe in his hand and nods. Yes, Kikitsuki is one of the many shadows that protects our home. Now then, Iruka continues on with your class, he says, and leaves, with Naruto following him. Hey, Jekko was found dead this morning, Hiruzen says, once they were out of earshot of the children. Orochimaru, Naruto asks. We do not know at the moment, but I have all the Jonin on guard, Hiruzen replies. Naruto sighs internally with a look to the sky. Yuga will be sad, hate was a friend, he muses. Indeed, I want you to be prepared as well, Hiruzen says, and Naruto nods. Where's Jiraiya? Naruto asks. Research, Naruto, you can't avoid him, Hiruzen replies, and Naruto scoffs as they reach Hiruzen's office. I can and will give him a taste of his own medicine, Naruto says, and Hiruzen sighs. I won't get in the middle of this, but I urge you to talk to him, Hiruzen says, and clears his throat. Now I've decided not to announce your status to the village as a whole, he says. That's actually fine. Let the councils do it. I'm sure you'll hear what daimyo, Naruto says, and Hiruzen nods. I'm sorry about this, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen says, and Naruto waves his hand. I'm fine with it. This village didn't deserve my parents or me, as their son, Naruto says, and hides himself in Hiruzen's shadow. This is how I will guard you for the finals, Naruto says. That is perfectly fine, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen says, and starts on his paperwork. 2 weeks later, Chunin Finals Stadium. Hiruzen sits in one of 2 chairs on the highest level of the stadium as many people cheer, but his gaze was on the finalists. Is Sasuke still missing, Raiden? He asks. Several Anbu teams are searching, but he has yet to be located, Raiden says. He has a weak-like scar on his face, running across the bridge of his nose and down across the left side of his face, with spiky brown hair and dark eyes. He may have fallen to Orochimaru, Raiden says, and Hiruzen slowly nods. Footsteps catch their ears as the Kazuki Ujirasa approaches with 2 nondescript guards, wearing tan cloaks. It's good to see you, Lord Hokage, Rasa says, taking his seat. You must be tired from your long trip, Hiruzen says. Not at all. I'm glad the exams were held in Konoha. Although you are still so young, it would be tiring to travel to another village. Perhaps it is time to choose a god, Rasa, and Raiden's eyes narrow, but Hiruzen laughs. Now don't treat me like an old man. I think I have a good 5 years left, Hiruzen says, and rises from his seat, moving to the railing. Hiruzen channels chakra to his voice. Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to Konoha's Chunin selection exam. We will not begin the main matches with these 8 that have passed the preliminaries. Please enjoy what he declares, and people cheer. 8 were there, not 10, Rasa says, but Hiruzen remains quiet. Hiruzen returns to his seat as Niji and Shino remain on the field. Let's watch the battles in earnest, he says. Scene break. Niji vs Shino. Alright you two, the rules of the previous round apply, but death is not allowed, Gemma says, and both nod. Niji shifts into his stance as raises his arms to his mid-chest as his Kikage emerges from his sleeves. The Byakugan comes to bear as edges closer, it would be wise to give up. Shino sends his Kikage forth towards, but he suddenly starts to spin with a dome of chakra. He knows the Hakishimkaten, Hiashi thought. So you know the main house techniques of Niji, Hinata thought. Niji comes to halt but closes the gap with a kunai in reverse grip but blocks with his right hand, brushing Shino's hand away. Shino grunts as Niji connects with two strikes to his right shoulder and left side as he leaps back. You're still in my field of divination and shifts into a stance, shocking the main member. Akirakujikyun SHM utters, closing the gap and striking 64 times. Shino staggers back as Niji smirks, but his breath hitches as Shino breaks down into his insects. Your arrogance is what your defeat says, appearing behind and sending a swarm of his Kikage to engulf, but he counters with his strikes again in rapid speed into another Katen and cuts down more of his hive. Shino narrows his eyes but lowers his hands. Proctor, I will have forfeit. I cannot afford to lose more of my Kikage, he says. Genma waves his hands and raises his left, winner by forfeit Niji Hyuga, he declares. Niji smirks and looks at the crowd and sees, just you wait, I will crush you Hinata-sama, he thought. My arrogance was your defeat, Niji says. Shino, and make their way off the stadium floor as clears his throat. The next match is Sasuke Uchiha vs Gaara, Sabaku declares. 5 minutes passed, then 10 minutes, as many in the crowd were getting very restless. I started the match. Where is he? We want to see this fight. Several shouts. We'll have no choice but to be disqualified, Hiruzen says. Wait, Lord Hokage, many came to see Sasuke do battle, myself included, perhaps we can move the match, Rasa says, and Raiden protests. Hiruzen tips his cage hat down slightly. Very well, we'll postpone the match, but Sasuke will be barred from becoming a Chunin for at least 1 year, he says, and Raiden nods, relaying things too. It's rare for you to say something to Lord Kazekage, Hiruzen says. I can think of no better opponent for Gaara than Uchiha. What better way to show my country's power to the feudal lords, Rasa says. Ladies and gentlemen, Sasuke Uchiha has yet to arrive and the match will be delayed. So we will begin the next match, shocking the genin. So he gets his match delayed, Karen says, adjusting her glasses. Looks like it is Shikamaru's comments, with a mutter of trouble. Lucky bastard, Kiba comments. The next match is Karen Uzumaki vs Kankuro, Sabaku Genma declares, and Kankuro tasks. I can't show off my skills before the operation, Kankuro thought and glanced at Temari as she nodded. Proctor, I forfeit, shouts, causing many people to boo. Genma sighs with a chew on his. Karen Uzumaki wins by default. We'll begin the next match, he shouts. Temari pulls out her fan and swings it open with a gust of wind to glide down to the stadium floor. Shikamaru was ready to give up on himself, but someone kicked him over the railing, that person being Naruto. That to it, lazy bones, Naruto shouts. Shikamaru stares at the smirking Naruto, but it pops, revealing itself as a clone. How troublesome, he thought. Numerous people boo and throw things as Shikamaru lays there. If you won't attack, then I will shout, and race forward with her fan folded up. Shikamaru sighs and mutters as he grabs two kunai as is on him with her fan coming down with a medium-sized dust-up. The cloud dispels and Shikamaru is not there, but standing above her fan on his kunai. It's not like I want to be promoted, he says. Temari swings her fan with another dust-up, but Shikamaru is gone once again, hiding himself amongst the trees. He uses the shadow so he'll try to lure me into it, but that won't save him, Temari thought. Dawn. Kamitachi shouts, swinging her fan. Shikamaru covers his face as the gale whips through up to the stands, causing Tenten to have flashbacks. That's the same jutsu she used to bat my weapons away with ease, Tenten thought. Shikamaru attempts to use his Kajime no, but the shadow user comes up short as measures the distance. That's his limit with the shadows of the wall, 15 meters and 32 centimeters though, gouging the ground. This match is over. Temari is better at long range than close combat, but she measured the distance, his options are limited, Kankuro thought. A standoff starts as Shikamaru devises a plan but attacks with her Kamitachi, forcing Shikamaru to maneuver around and toss a kunai to catch her off guard. Temari dodges and Shikamaru uses his shadow imitation to attempt to trap her and she dodges, but the shadow follows. Temari above shouts. Temari gasps and looks to see Shikamaru's jacket tied like a balloon, creating a shadow, allowing him to stretch. If Kankuro hadn't shouted, I would have been caught though, as the balloon fell to the ground. Shikamaru looked up at the clouds moving, just a little more, he thought. I won't let you stall, shouts, firing her Kamitachi once again. Shikamaru dodges behind a tree as it is carved up. She's right, I can only stall so much, he thought, but saw the clouds bunching up. There Shikamaru thought and shot out to send his shadow. Tamari opens her fan wide and drives it into the ground to prepare an attack as the clouds move, but her body suddenly freezes. No. He used the clouds, she thought. Shikamaru moves out the shadows as they approach one another. Looks like the clouds were on my side, Shikamaru says and raises his hand, causing to do the same. A great many were completely invested in the match, but were disappointed as Shikamaru gave up, making many scream and shout. Winner Tamari Sabaku announces as many shout. Lendaku say I'm tired, Shikamaru says, rubbing his right shoulder and preparing to leave. However, suddenly a swirl of leaves form as Sasuke and Kakashi appear back to back, causing the crowd to cheer wildly. Sorry we're late, Kakashi says. You're lucky Hokage-sama delayed your match, but the Uchiha can't compete for a year because of it, Gemma says. What? Sasuke hisses, but Kakashi pats his shoulder. Mama, it's okay, just do well this time, Kakashi says, and Sasuke scoffs as Gaara appears with a sand shunshin. Scene break. A single blue eye opens within Hiruzen's shadow as Sasuke and Gaara's battle begins. The signal should be coming, Naruto thought. Several more eyes opened in various parts of the stadium, so Sasuke managed to copy Lee's speed, but his stamina is shit, several of the eyes thought. Are all of you ready? Naruto thought. I'm sitting next to Asuma, and some of the rookies, I count at least 6 Anbu things, are about to start relays. I'm with my mother, Hana relays. I have my squad ready. Will avenge hate relays. Fufufu, I'm with Ibiki. I can't wait to add some more soul relays. Naruto titters in Hiruzen's shadow, happy hunting my queens, he thought, hearing a loud chirping noise. So senpai taught Sasuke the Chidori, Naruto thought, as Sasuke pierces Gaara's sand orb. A few seconds tick by as the tension rises. Blood, it's my blood, Gaara howls, shocking many in the crowd. Music. Orochimaru theme. Time starts to slow as white feathers rain down on the crowd while Rasa slowly turns his head towards Hiruzen as a smoke bomb explodes. Rasa rushes towards Hiruzen with a kunai drawn, but an arm erupts from Hiruzen's shadow to grab the outstretched arm. Now is that any way for a guest to act, as Lord Kazekage, Naruto says, emerging and aiming a hidden blade from his right sleeve at Rasa. Naruto narrowly dodges and launches to the roof with his guards as Naruto and Hiruzen give chase. Throughout the stadium, an Odo ninja reveal themselves, while and secure Gaara. What is the meaning of this, Lord Kazekage? Hiruzen questions. The two guards reveal themselves as the sound 4 and take the 4 points of the roof, Nim. Shishi engine the 4 shout, creating a barrier around the 3 and a second around themselves. Rasa reaches for his veil and rips it away along with his face to reveal Orochimaru, Kukuku. I was hoping to steal Sasuke-kun in the chaos, but no matter what he says. The Kitsuki supports me, Hiruzen says, and rushes forward, weaving signs. Nim. Kawara shuriken shouts, firing the tiles like shuriken. Orochimaru dodges with a leap and sends snakes from his sleeves, but Naruto slices them to pieces with his. Hiruzen uses Naruto's left shoulder as a springboard as Orochimaru changes his tongue into a snake to bite him, but the cage turns to mud. Oten. Dorotaiga shouts. The ground under Orochimaru turns to mud and washes him away, but the snake flashes signs, but Hiruzen counters, Doten. Doriken, Hiruzen shouts. A dragon of mud forms and fires several mud bombs, but then adds flames to it, catching his traitorous student on fire. The combined earth and fire, one Anbu named Monkey says. As expected of Hokage-sama, second named Frog says. Enough games, Orochimaru, Hiruzen says, as Orochimaru rises from the tiles with a smirk on his face. Hiruzen tosses off his robes and cage hat to reveal his ninja gear of a black jumpsuit with mesh segments over the lower portions of his limbs and a green gauntlet that covered much of his right arm. He also has a Kabuto armored hood with a bandana like 8 with 2 long straps. Finally ready to cut loose, Lord Third, Naruto says, as Orochimaru tosses off his robes. The tension starts to ramp up as both unleash their chakra outward and crack the tiles on the roof. Kukuku, I won't go easy on you, Sensei, Orochimaru sneers, shifting his gaze to Naruto. I'll need to distract him, Orochimaru, as the master and student rushed forward. Hiruzen unleashes the cage shuriken as Orochimaru flashes signs and slaps his hands together, Kuchius. Ito Tensei. He shouts. A coffin rises from the roof as a second does the same. We must stop those coffins, Hiruzen shouts. Naruto grabs his shuriken and does the cage shuriken as the third coffin rises, but it halts as the shuriken slams into the wood and it sinks. Seems the third wasn't viable, Orochimaru thought. The lids of the coffins clatter on the roof to reveal the bodies of Hashirama and Tobirama Senju. So what will you do now? Sensei no, Lord Third Hokage, Orochimaru sneers. The two former cage slowly step out of the coffins with both looking cracked and pale. It's been a long time, Saru, Hashirama says. Oh, you've gotten old, Sarutobi, Tobirama adds. Naruto tosses off his coat as Hiruzen stifles his tears. Indeed it has, Sensei's, Hiruzen says. Saru tells Anbu I sense the Kyuubi inside him, Tobirama says, and Hiruzen's breath hitches. Naruto's shoulders start to shake as he reaches for his Anbu mask. I guess nothing escapes the senses of the great second Hokage, he says, tossing it aside. Fukuku so Naruto-kun, you intend to continue interfering, Orochimaru says. Naruto grins to show his fangs. Of course Snake Anko has called for you to die, and, as her man I intend to do just that. Orochimaru pulls out 2 kunai with seals attached and slips both into the heads of the brothers, causing their body to regain their vigor. Fukuku, let's get started with your last day, Sarutobi-sensei, Orochimaru sneers. Naruto left this to me. You should deal with the village, Hiruzen says, but Naruto shakes his head. I am already an old man. Plus I am dealing with Gaara. I tried my best to deal with him. Besides, my queens are on the hunt, Naruto says, and Hiruzen sighs. Then with Naruto-kun here my chances go up, Hiruzen thought. Music. Ninetsu no Taizai the Tensei Ommandments loop. The 2 cage slowly start to move and pick up speed as Tobirama moves higher up the roof as Naruto edges behind Hiruzen. Ramps, I'll take Lord Second, Naruto says, and Hiruzen snaps out of his nostalgia with a nod. The pair quickly engage the brothers in a furious rush of taijutsu, with Naruto soon gaining the upper hand by grabbing Tobirama in a release German suplex before grabbing him by the leg and tossing him at Naruto. Wind shouts, flashing signs, and stopping a tiger as Naruto does his own signs. On top of Kaiten. Karakenden both shout, creating a large inferno and engulfing the brothers. Orochimaru only chuckles as Tobirama weaves to the tiger sign, Suiten. Sujin Heki, Tobirama recites. A huge wall of water dozes the flames as Naruto smirks, so this the famed control over water he has, he thought. Tobirama then slaps his hands together as water forms around them, Suiten. Sushma, he declares. A vortex of water forms around the brothers as Tobirama sends it towards Naruto and Hiruzen. Ramps behind me, Naruto shouts and flashes signs into a big inhale. Haimten. Yuki no Kaijin no Ibuki, Naruto thought, expelling a burst of frozen wind. This shocks Anbu and Orochimaru as the water starts to freeze from Naruto's breath. He possesses the ice release, so it seems Kabuto-kun was correct that Naruto can absorb other bloodlines. Shame he has the Kyuubi, Orochimaru thought. Oten. Dorikeki shouts, creating a tall wall of earth and leaps atop it as Naruto joins him. Hashirama walks on the water but shoots forward as Hiruzen leaps down to meet him, firing several flame bullets, but Hashirama swats each one away. Naruto leaps down and weaves several signs as Hiruzen engages. Haimten. Harakenko, Naruto recites, creating an ice tiger. The tiger slams into as he punches Hiruzen away, dragging the former along the impromptu lake, but shatters from a burst of Hashirama's chakra. Tobirama grabs Naruto from behind and drags him under the water, but the blonde elbows him into the chest, breaking free and shoots to the wall, scaling it like a spider as Hiruzen joins him. Several tight streams of water cut through the earth wall and drain the created lake as both land, but suddenly roots emerge from the roof and earthen wall. This isn't good, Hiruzen thought. Lokuten Hijutsu. Jukai Kantan declares. Naruto gasps as a literal forest erupts from the roof, but the vampire sees this as an opportunity as Hiruzen reins in his breath. Fukuku, you look so old right now, Sarutobi-sensei. It is good that I will age longer, Orochimaru sneers and rips his face away, revealing a young woman's face. What have you done? Did you complete that forbidden? Hiruzen shouts. Orochimaru throws his head back with a wild cackle as the forest hides them from the other Anbu. If you're done grandstanding, I think it is time to end this, Naruto shouts, placing his hand on Hiruzen's shoulder. Fukuku, do you think you can fight against the might of the first 2 Hokage? Orochimaru sneers and Naruto grins. Stop the Ito Tensei, I need to take you down, Naruto shouts, forming a Rasengan in his right hand. Oh, you know Minato's famed jutsu. However, it is useless if you can't get me, Orochimaru says. Naruto reaches into the pouch on his lower back and pulls out 3 familiar-looking kunai, causing Orochimaru's eyes to widen in horror. Stop him. Orochimaru shouts, and the brothers rush forward. Naruto tosses the tri-pronged kunai forward, but throws up a half-ram sign, kunai kage bunshin no jutsu, he says. The 3 kunai become a dozen as Naruto vanishes in a flash to each one before appearing above Orochimaru. Dama Rasengan, Naruto shouts, his Rasengan growing larger and engulfing the snake. The pair of arms burst from Naruto's back and weave signs, Mokuten. Jubaku Izum, Naruto adds, as black wood tentacles burst from the ground and capture the brothers. The giant Rasengan continues to grind Orochimaru into the tiles, but with scant white flames starting to emerge on it, causing them to scream in pain. Still not enough, Naruto thought as the Rasengan exploded. Naruto lands with his arm burned and smoking as the barrier starts to come down, but sees Orochimaru has vanished. Slippery snake, he hisses. Song ends. Scene break. Anbu after him. Hiruzen shouts. The patriarch then turns his attention to the bound cage with a saddened look on his face. We should release them, Naruto says, but tilts his head. Then Orochimaru could summon them again, he adds. Then what do you propose, young one? Hashirama says. Naruto bends over to touch his knees as his veins become pronounced, causing Hiruzen to gasp as Mizuki and Jiro slowly emerge from his body. Naruto hisses. Mizuki and Jiro each weave the same signs as Hiruzen recognizes them. That is the sequence, Hiruzen says. Kenjutsu. Shikifujin both declare, slapping their hands together. A dark chill erupts around as the looking figure of the Shinigami appears with his billowing white cloak. It starts to mutter words as black words scrawl across its arms before piercing the souls of, and. The pair scream in agony but do as ordered and grab the brothers before the Shinigami's hand pulls on their souls. Sarutobi forgives us, Hashirama says. We've caused a great deal of trouble, Tobirama adds, and Hiruzen tears up. The bodies of the brothers turn white and break down to reveal the corpses of and kin. He even sacrificed his own men, Hiruzen says. The Shinigami starts to fade away but shifts its gaze to Naruto before vanishing and breaking down as well. Enjoying the Shinigami's stomach, Mizuki-sensei Naruto sneers, falling on his rear. So you are both the Hiraishin and the Shikifujin, Hiruzen says. Naruto looks up at Hiruzen, but then to the sky. The counterattack should be beginning, he says. Yes, it should, Hiruzen says, as Naruto rises to his feet and conjures his Anbu mask. Orders Lord Third, Naruto says. Drive these invaders from our home, Kikitsuki, Hiruzen orders, and Naruto bursts into a murder of crows. Scene break. Kurenai sees the crows fly from the roof as a hawk cries. That's the signal, she says, standing with the other. It is time to counterattack, and they vanish, breaking down into rose petals. A few minutes later, a group of ninjas stand on a building as rose petals land around them. What is this? A Kunoichi says, kneeling down to pick up one. Strangled screams erupt behind her and she quickly stands to whip around, seeing her comrades dead. She takes a hesitant step back as stands opposite her with her ruby eyes glowing, causing the Kunoichi's eyes to dim and slowly approach. The Kunoichi loosens her vest to show her neck before snakes her right around the Kunoichi's back and swiftly bites her neck. The Kunoichi doesn't struggle as her gray eyes weakly flicker and her movement slow until her body goes limp as drops her. The Kunoichi's body soon becomes rotted and eyes blank before slowly moving but sends a kunai into her head and she turns to dust. Kurenai turns to several kunai piercing her body with the last hitting her between her eyes as she collapses on her back. Several Odo ninja were standing with weapons in their hands. Did you see that? One says. It was like she was drinking her blood for a second, confused. The leader of the group approaches and kicks her leg before squatting down but rears up and rams her right hand through his chest. The Odo ninja quickly goes on edge as rises to her feet with her hand still through the Odo, but her porcelain skin is a dark brown, two long horns coming from her raven hair. Her red eyes were now a glowing purple with her sclera a black void, her teeth were barred and her fangs were long and sharp past her lip. You are food nourishment, I will hunt you then I will devour you, hisses, ripping her hand free and licking it with her now serpent tongue. The Odo ninja slowly takes a hesitant step back but Kurenai weaves signs, Meijin. Kimfu no mi, she hisses as her body vanishes before their eyes. The Odo ninja look around but all of them gasp as the area turns black and eyes open among the darkness before all sorts of images erupt and bring death upon the Odo ninja. Kurenai watches all of them collapse with a look of fear and death etched on their faces. Kurenai pulls the kunai from her forehead as the wound seals before doing the same to the other kunai. Aikano has scum, several voices shout and slowly turn before exploding into ravens and cutting down the Odo ninja to move outward from the exam arena. In another part of the village, several ninja were racing through the streets but Nico and several Anbu appeared on an arch. You will go no further, Nico declares, drawing her sword. Mikazuki no Mai, Nico declares, becoming three versions of herself and cutting down the ninja. Captain Nico is rare from today, one Anbu named Crane says. Tei Jekko was a comrade, Kame says. Enough chatter spread out, Nico shouts, and the four Anbu vanish. Nico removes her mask and her eyes glow before opening her mouth wide and the blood from the dead moves as it is alive toward her open mouth. Nico returns her mask to her face, poor diet she thought, and vanishes. Scene break. Anko smirks as several Odo ninja claw at their bodies as purple spreads from her ringcage. Her lower body was that of a purple snake as she slithers along the road. A clone of her helped evacuate the academy and civilians while her real self feeds on Odo ninja. Anko shifts back into human form with a roll of her neck and holds her hands together as they turn purple before a small smoke cloud forms. Akujin no Jutsu says, blowing out a cloud towards the charging ninja. Look out, one shouted, but it was too late. The poison cloud engulfs them and their screams erupt as the nano-size insects spread throughout their bodies. Anko raises her hands, and the Rinkache leave the corpses and enter her hands are visible spots of skin. A howl catches Anko's attention, and she smirks. What did Naruto call a lichen? She says, as something large lands behind her with a dust-up. I prefer werewolf, a deep guttural voice. Anko turns to a hulking figure with dark gray fur, wolf head, and glowing purple eyes. Blood dripped from its large claws and feet, wearing human clothes of a form-fitting flak vest and black shorts. Where's your mom? Anko asks. Hana wiped some slobber from her maw. She went ahead, she says, as the triplets landed behind her. Several shuriken charge them, but Hana swipes her large paw and adds some futon to deflect them. Come on you three, Gatenga, Hana shouts, turning a spinning vortex with her and shredding the hapless ninja. Sensei Jashu shouts, sending snakes from her sleeves and biting any ninja that got past Hana. We should pick up the pace, plus no need for others to see this side of us, Anko says. Hana slowly shifts back into her human form with a crack of her joints. Right, not even mom hasn't seen this, she says, and both vanish with Shunshin. Scene break. Danzo, under Naruto's Anbu guise, watches the Sand siblings leave, having used his Sharingan to influence Gaara on a better path and influence to become. Danzo was under orders by Naruto to defeat Gaara quickly and put him on a better path, using the Gajimfukin to shut out and several put Gaara down. The Redeed looked afraid that his life was at an end, but using things changed quickly. I cannot believe Danzo Shimura, student of Tabarama Senju, would be a puppet of a boy. Still in his teens, Danzo thought and clenched his fist. Curse Hiruzen, you are not giving me the boy, he thought. Danzo then turns his attention to Sasuke. Sasuke Uchiha secure Sakura Haruno and return to the village, but be wary of enemy shinobi, he says. Who are you? Sasuke says. I'm Anbu. Now go, Danzo says. Sasuke shoots Danzo a glare but grabs Sakura and leaps away as the older man sighs. So you can do, as told by a voice croon. Danzo turns to be hit by several crows and covers his body until Naruto reforms around him. Good work, Danzo, Naruto says, rolling his neck. The day ended in Konoha's victory as Odo and retreated in earnest. Many lost their lives in the invasion but did not fall. A week passed and a mass funeral was held for who died. Naruto and his queen stayed on the fringes of the funeral with Hana and interacting with others and Genin while Naruto and performed their Anbu duties. Naruto sits with the other members of the council, his gaze drifting to who were representing the clan. They're like cockroaches. Even dismissed from their advisory roles, they still can sit in a council meeting as the voice of the Uchiha Naruto. Hiruzen sits at the head of the table with his pipe in his mouth. Suna has sent the terms of their surrender. They pin the blame on Orochimaru for their actions and murdering the Kazekage. He starts and the council murmurs. Construction is going well, but the times are perilous now. The other nations may become emboldened, Shikaku says. Which is why I believe we need a god aim, Hiruzen says, shocking many on the council. Who would be chosen? Choza asks. Hiruzen shifts his gaze around the room and it falls on Jiraiya. Jiraiya, I would like you to become god aim, he says. A good choice, Jiraiya-sama is a Sannin, Inoichi says. Jiraiya raises his hand with a sigh. I'm not suited for that, sensei, but if you want a Sannin there is one more, he says. Tsunade, but she hasn't been in the village in years, Shikaku says. I can convince her to return and take the post, Jiraiya says, but Naruto scoffs. Do you think you can find her? Oh, venerable spy master, Naruto says, his arms folded. Hiruzen puffs his pipe as Naruto glares at Jiraiya. Can you find her, Jiraiya? Hiruzen asks. Of course I can, sensei. I'll even take the Gaki with me, Jiraiya says, but Naruto scoffs again, shaking his head. Do you even know where she'll be? Because I do, Naruto says, causing several to look at him in surprise. Well, as all of you know, I control Na, and through their networks I learned some things, Naruto says. Then where is she? Jiraiya says. You're the spy master, Naruto says, and looks to Hiruzen. If you allow me, Lord Third, I'll go under my Anbu guise and convince Tsunade to return, Naruto adds. Hiruzen closes his eyes to take a hit of his pipe and thinks, are you sure you can do it, Naruto? He says, and Naruto nods. You're actually gonna let him do this? I can find her, sensei, Jiraiya says. Then how about a bet on Jiraiya if I can convince Tsunade to return? You drop this nonsense of me becoming your student, or if I fail I become your apprentice like my father before me, Naruto says. Fine, you're on, Jiraiya says, and Naruto smirks, glancing to Hiruzen. The Sandaime clears his throat. The next order of business is I have decided to forego announcing Naruto's heritage to the village as a whole, but I'll allow you to fill in your clans. This was Naruto's decision, as he is an Anbu captain, he explains, glancing at, and. The village has a right to know, Choza says. All true, but since I am supposed to be faceless it is best this way, Daimyo knows, and that is good enough for me, Naruto says. That is your choice, Naruto, Shikaku says, and Naruto nods, shifting his gaze to two elders. If nothing else I call this meeting to a close, Hiruzen says, and the council slowly starts to file out. Naruto glances at Jiraiya and moves to Hiruzen before whispering several things to the older man. That is fine Naruto-kun, I'll inform Dragon, Hiruzen says, and Naruto nods, excusing himself, and shoots a look too. You don't actually think he can do it, Jiraiya says. Hiruzen looked at his student but could see the nervousness on his face. Naruto-kun has some inhuman luck. Why do you think he can't? Because Tsunade, you know Tsunade, she won't just accept coming back to the village, Jiraiya says. Perhaps learning she has some living family here in the village will convince her to come home and be with them, Hiruzen says, and Jiraiya sighs nervously. Scene break. Tenten groans and turns to face her window as a crow pecks on the glass, causing her eyes to narrow and slowly make her way to the window. She opens the window and the crow leaves a slip of paper before flying off into the sky. Jen and Higurashi consider this an opportunity to further your career. You are to report to the location at the bottom also until this trial is done, or unless told you are to cease verbal communication and use only academy hand signs. Failure you to do will result in your termination from your opportunity. Tenten reads and pauses. Tell no one where you are going or why you are going. Bring no gear, it will be provided. Above all, do not let anyone see you arrive. You have 1 hour to arrive. Signed, Dragon Commander of Anbu Corporation. Tenten reads and her breath hits. The Anbu, Tenten thought, but quickly got dressed in her mission gear. She quickly leaves her house and makes her way to location, keeping to the shadows until she arrives at a nondescript building. Suddenly a bag is put over her head and the feel of shunshin erupts before the bag is pulled off to reveal herself in a room with several lockers. Look down, a voice says, and Tenten sees Nico coming from behind her. Tenten looks down to see the standard Anbu uniform with a plain porcelain mask and Tanto. You have 20 minutes to get dressed, Nico says. Tenten slowly strips down to her wide underwear and breast bindings before slipping on the Anbu pants, taped for the ankles with Anbu sandals. She then pulls on the long-sleeved black shirt, then the chest and forearm armor, and lastly the Tanto. The mask was last, and Tenten follows Nico to a room with a few people. Kneel, Nico orders, and Tenten complies. Hiruzen stood next to the dragon with Naruto in the corner with his arms crossed and his hood down, his hair more black than blonde. You have been chosen due to the vouching of my best operative. To be honest, I don't see the appeal. You lost miserably to Tsunade during the exams and didn't distinguish yourself during the invasion. However, Kikitsuki asked for you, so I will trust his judgment. Naruto pushes off the wall and makes his way next to the dragon. This mission is a retrieval one. Lord Hokage has asked us to recall his wayward student Tsunade Senju. Understand, he says, and Tenten signs yes. That I do not expect hostiles, but be prepared. We'll be heading to Tanzakugai. Tsunade Senju is supposed to be in a gambling tournament held there. Naruto continues and Hiruzen gives him a look. Failure of this mission will look poorly on your future, Hiruzen says, and vanishes with leaf shunshin. Your handlers will be Kikitsuki and Nico, the dragon says. I understand, Tenten says. Dragon nods to the pair and leaves the room. You will not speak unless Kikitsuki or I tell you. This mission will not fail. Rook understands, Nico says, and 10 times nods. Naruto tosses her a scroll. Inside is what you will need. I know it's not your standard loadout, but you'll have to make do, he says. Follow me and we'll get you a cloak, Nico says, and Tenten follows her. Why are we being sent to retrieve Tsunade-sama? Tenten signs. Lord Hokage has expressed a desire to retire and Tsunade-sama has been chosen to replace him, Nico replies, handing her a black travel cloak. Tenten slips it in thought and follows Nico outside, where Naruto was waiting for them, and he signs the mission to start. The three race to the eastern gate and pick up speed with no regard for Tenten. She looks at Naruto and frowns behind her mask, but sighs, will I even be human once I return? Tenten thoughts. About an hour goes by in silence as Naruto makes a fist for them to stop. Nico secures the area, Rook sets up a fire, Naruto orders, and both nod. Tenten quickly starts a fire with some old sticks as Naruto unseals some rabbit meat on skewers. Fire started, Tenten signs. Naruto places the skewers on the fire and sits cross-legged on the ground as Nico returns. We're secure, Nico says. Naruto reaches for a rabbit skewer and pushes his mask into the shadows of his hood while Nico does the same with her cloak. Tenten moves her mask enough to eat a rabbit with her gaze drifting to Naruto. Rook, what is the nearest town? Nico asks. Tenten pulls out a map from her pack and looks it over. Otafuku town, she signs. But we'll stop there for the night. Nico secured our site. Rook with me, Naruto says. Tenten follows Naruto as Nico stalks the fire and destroys any evidence of them being there. You and Nico will remain outside the town. I go in, as normal, and scout things out. Keep an eye for hostiles, he says, and Tenten nods. Kikitsuki, should we deal with Tenten signs, and Naruto smirks behind his mask. Once we reach Tanzakugai, Naruto says, as Nico arrives, and the three shoot off once again. Naruto, Kurenai says. What is it? Naruto replies. We had a problem when Itachi Uchiha infiltrated the village with Kisame Hoshigaki, and Naruto glanced at Nico. How bad? Nico asks. Kakashi was injured, but Sasuke also knows that Itachi came and is looking for you. He's desperate to find you, Kurenai says. If he asks, tell him I'm out of the village, Naruto states as they pick up speed. Scene break out of Fuku town. Naruto silently counts one-hand handstand push-ups, anything he thought, wearing black cargo pants and a white muscle shirt. Two hostiles approaching intercept, Nico replies. I can handle it, my lovely kitten, Naruto says, flipping forward as knocking echoes. Naruto opens the door to a young man with Sharingan eyes and long black hair and a ponytail. Naruto-kun came with us, the man says. Naruto rests his left arm on the doorframe as a second taller man with blue skin and shark-like eyes appears. I'm going to have to decline, Weasel Senpai, Naruto says, shifting his gaze to the tall man. Itachi, he seems to know your old moniker, the tall man says. Shall we go outside, Naruto-kun, Itachi says. Naruto steps out into the hallway with a blank look on his face. I know many things about the monster of Kiri Kisame Hoshigaki. Maybe I should cut off one of his limbs, Kisame says, reaching for his sword Samehada. So who is Pain, Naruto, and both halt in their tracks. Wow, he must be a leader to give you both paws, he says. How do you know that name, Naruto-kun, Itachi says, and Naruto smirks, widening his right eye, and his Sharingan comes bare, but shifts into its Manjikam form. Itachi's breath hitches as he stares at a very familiar Sharingan and his eyes shift to his Manjikam, Tsukiyomi, Itachi utters. The pair soon find themselves in a red world overlooking. How do you have that eye, Itachi says. The same place you last saw it. 3 years ago I gained a bloodline. This bloodline allows me to assimilate other bloodlines, Naruto starts. You killed Danzo and took his Sharingan, Itachi states, and Naruto nods. Even the Mokuton as well, but that's neither here nor there. My new bloodline also caused my heart to stop, and since Konoha was somewhat still standing, means the fox can't go anywhere, Naruto says, and Itachi's eyes narrow. Meaning the Kyuubi can't be extracted, Itachi says. Technically both myself and the Kyuubi are both alive and dead, as the Yondaime split the fox in half and took that half in the Shinigami's stomach, Naruto says. The world around them shatters as Kisame was about to pull his sword, but Itachi raises his arm to block. We're retreating, Kisame, Itachi says. Why, the Gaki is right here, Kisame says. The scenario has changed. Plus this is not even the real Naruto, Itachi says, and Naruto titters. Bingo, oh, and the boss has a message for Pain. Tell him I will be coming to see him. Very soon, the clone says, and pops in a puff of smoke. The real Naruto blows a stream of smoke with his back on a tall tree, wearing the same thing as the clone wore, but with his coat. I've played a card. Will I score a jackpot or go bust? Naruto thought, dropping down into their camp. They retreat, Nico asks, and Naruto nods. Who were they? Tenten signs. The clan slayer Itachi Uchiha and the monster of Kiri Kisame Hoshigaki, Naruto replies, and Tenten's breath hitches. Don't worry about it. Now once we arrive in Tanzakugai we'll make contact with Tsunade, Naruto says. How will we make contact with 10 signs? We may have to go in without masks. Continue to not speak unless told or what you hear, Nico says, and Tenten nods. Naruto rises to his feet and rolls his neck. Rook secures the camp and we'll pull out, he says. Right, Captain, Tenten signs and begins to break down the camp, then they head off towards Tanzakugai. Scene break. Tanzakugai. Tsunade Senju, former student of the Sandaime, and her apprentice Shizune Kato, along with their pet pig Tenten, arrive at the gambling town of Tanzakugai. The busty blonde grips a red suitcase with a smirk on her face. Time to win, says. Tsunade-sama could be like the other towns, say, and grits her teeth a bit. The last 5 towns they have been in the gambling dens refused as her debts were purchased by someone and were told not to service her. I highly doubt they listened to some unknown person, says, a scowl on her face. The pair marched into town and people were bustling for the tournament, but people saw her, causing many to whisper and stealthily point. Tsunade quickly went to a pachinko parlor and started playing, but was shocked that she was winning. Amazing, Tsunade-sama cheers, but narrows her honey eyes. This is a bad omen, I almost never win, Tsunade thought. The pair soon collect the winnings and traverse the town. It's rare for you to win this much, comments, carrying a case and Tenten walking next to her. This city, I have a bad feeling about this place we're leaving, Tsunade says and furrows her brow. Bad feeling? Did we not come for this gambling tournament? Plus it's a resort town. We can admire the castle and have some fun, Shizune says. Then hurry up so we can go and screw the tournament and quickly follow with Tenten. The trio soon reach the castle, but suddenly it explodes courtesy of a large snake, but on top of the snake were Orochimaru and Kabuto. That's it, says. With a scowl on her beautiful face, Orochimaru. she hisses, and Orochimaru chuckles, his arms heavily bandaged. "I found you," Orochimaru hisses, his neck down were also bandaged. Tsunade glares as the pair drop down with the walls at their backs. "What do you want?" she says, coldly. "Orochimaru-sama needs your help, as you see he has been horribly injured." Kabuto starts and narrows her eyes. His heartbeat is rapid and he is in tremendous pain though. "So I don't do medicine anymore. Ask someone else," Tsunade says. "We can't do that. You can see the seriousness of his injuries. Only someone of your legendary status can fix this." Tsunade Harem, Kabuto says, as the tension between them rises. "The injuries you received aren't ordinary. What did you do?" Tsunade says, seeing Orochimaru's arms trembling. "Nothing much, I got these injuries fighting the Sandaime," Orochimaru says, omitting that Naruto was the real cause, and Tsunade's breath hitches. Konoha says, a stern look forming, and Orochimaru sneers. "No need to look so scary, Sarutobi-sensei is still alive unlike the ones you lost," Orochimaru says. Tsunade's honey eyes narrow and flicker in anger as Orochimaru smirks while Kabuto looks between the legendary pair. "Loved ones lost. I see he's come up with a terrible plan," Kabuto thought. "Fukuku, their deaths were quite gruesome. Noble Dan, your precious little brother Nawaki, and newborn godson Naruto," Orochimaru sneers. Shizune gnashes her teeth and pulls up her sleeve to reveal a launcher. "Bastard," she shouts, firing her. Kabuto acts quickly and blocks them with his kunai knife. "Poison," he says, holding one. Shizune quickly rushes Kabuto with a kunai as Kabuto prepares to defend himself with his own kunai. Shizune shouts and halts inches from slitting Kabuto's throat. She's no ordinary attendant, Kabuto thought, as back to her mistress. "Orochimaru, you've been like this since the old days. You know how my personality is. So stop joking around. What do you want?" Tsunade says, with a friendly look, but it shifts into a murderous look. Tsunade backfists the wall behind her and it shatters into pieces, shocking Kabuto, but Orochimaru laughs. "We did not come to fight, we've come to negotiate," Kabuto says. Kabuto-kun is correct. We came to negotiate. "In exchange for healing me completely, I will revive Nawaki Dan and Naruto," Orochimaru says, shocking both women and pigs. "I perfected your grand uncle's jutsu and with it I can revive all three," Orochimaru says, omitting Naruto actually being alive. Tsunade stands stock still as Orochimaru chuckles, but she notices black crows appearing. "Since you haven't chased us off, you're thinking it over," he says. "Too bad, you would have to sacrifice 3 lives for them," a voice says, and all of them gasp. The crows all caw in unison and explode into black feathers to rain down next to them before forming into Naruto with his Anbu mask on. "I don't know the first two, but I take umbrage with what Naruto says," his voice distorted. Orochimaru gnashes his teeth as Kabuto adjusts his glasses. "This is bad with Naruto-kun here. It ruins the plan," he thought. Tsunade narrows her eyes as Nico and Tenten appear behind the disguised Naruto. "Anbu, why?" she thought. "Why are Konoha Anbu here?" Shouts. Naruto tilts his head and removes his hood to reveal his red hair. "On one hand I can finish off the snake who ran from me, and on the other hand Lord Third sent us to find you, Princess Tsunade," he says, raising his hands to emphasize each point. "Curse you, boy," Orochimaru shouts, and Naruto laughs, slipping out of his coat and letting it fall on the ground. Naruto raises his left hand and a Rasengan forms, shocking, but more so when a small white flame appears. "I almost have the mix down, care to try again," Naruto says, and Orochimaru grits his teeth. "We're leaving, Kabuto," Orochimaru says, and looks to think about it, "you have a week," he adds, as both vanish. Naruto sighs deeply and cancels his Rasengan by tossing it aside as it dissipates. "Now then, Tsunade Senju, may we speak," he says. "Why would Sandaime-sama send Anbu states?" "Okage-sama wishes for you to return to Konoha," Nico says, and narrows her eyes. "How about we find a bar to speak in private? We have much to discuss," Naruto says. Tsunade sighs and rubs her forehead. "Fine, but you're paying," she says. Naruto grabs his coat and slips it on, leading the way. "Nico Rook scouts the town," he says, and both vanish. Scene break. Tsunade stares at the clear liquid in front of Naruto, Shizune sitting next to her, and Tenten eating some food. "So who are you?" Tsunade says. Naruto pours some vodka in a glass and pushes it to. "My code name is Kikatsuki, but I have another name," he says, pushing his mask into the shadows of his hood. Naruto slips a cigarette into the shadows and lights it with his Zippo. "Now Lord Third wishes for you to return to the village. The reason being that Orochimaru invaded the village he started." Tsunade downs the drink and pushes the cup back for more. "So sensei finally admits he's lost a step," she says. "While his mind is still sharp, however, he wishes to finally retire and has chosen you as his successor," Naruto says, and the glass shatters. Tsunade has a firm scowl on her face as Naruto pulls off his gloves to pick up the glass pieces. "I refuse the Hokage position is cursed. Everyone who has taken it or dreamed of it has died save Sensei," Tsunade says, but breath hitches as a few drops of blood fall on the table. Naruto notices Tsunade is starting to hyperventilate and sees her eyes on the blood. Interesting, a healer afraid of bloody muses, but waves his hand and the blood vanishes. Now I don't fault your actions. Indeed, each Hokage except Lord Third has died. Hell, I even had the dream of being Hokage, but died 3 years ago, Naruto says. Tsunade slowly starts to calm down with Shizune's help. What do you mean? Asos, but Naruto waves his hand. Don't worry about it. I realized it was a fool's dream, especially with my circumstances. However, let's put that aside for now. What if I were to tell you that you have a living family in Konoha? Naruto states. Then I would say you have a sick sense of humor. The only people I would consider family died years ago. Her name was Kushina and her baby, Naruto says, and Naruto narrows his eyes. Who told you Naruto died? Naruto says, pouring some vodka into another cup for her. Jiraiya, after the Kyuubi attack we happened to meet and he told me of Kushina and Naruto's passing, Tsunade says, but gasps as Naruto was clutching the bottle so hard to the point of nearly shattering. Pace starts, but her eyes narrow, seeing someone. Tsunade? Suddenly shouts. Tsunade was about to retort, but Naruto vanished, grabbing Jiraiya by the throat and rushing them out of the bar. Tsunade and Shizune quickly follow them out and find them on the ground with Naruto's hand around Jiraiya's throat. You told her I was dead. Naruto roars, ready to kill the white hair man. Jiraiya struggles to keep from passing out or his neck being snapped. It was a mistake, he sputters. Nico and Tenten appear behind Naruto and grab him, freeing from Naruto's death grip. You're Naruto Uzumaki. Says. Naruto pulls himself from Nico's grip and rips off his mask. Yes, he says, showing his face, and gasps. Then Naruto, listen, Jiraiya says, but a chain strikes the ground near him. Naruto's eyes turn a glowing blue with the white of his eyes a black void. I find out the old man you told her I was dead, I'll kill you, and him, he hisses, exploding into a murder of crows. Nico vanishes as well and leaves Tenten with the two and Tenten. Who are you? Tsunade asks. Rook, it's an honor to meet you, Tsunade-sama, Tenten signs. Jiraiya coughs roughly to catch his breath and looks at Tsunade, but she glaring at him. You and I are going to have a long talk, she says. Scene break. Yugao removes her mask as Naruto stands on the roof of a building with scarlet tears running down his face. I don't think Hokage-sama knows what he's done, she says. Naruto drinks from a vodka bottle with a growl. I meant what I said, if he knows he dies, and we vanish, he says. Yugao hugs Naruto from behind with a sigh into his back. My respect for the Sannin have gone down, she says. If Jiraiya hadn't lied, Tsunade would have been in the village and raised me. Naruto starts and looks to the sky. Then maybe we wouldn't have become monsters, Naruto adds. Perhaps, Yugao says. Tenten appears behind and pulls from Naruto, slipping her mask back on and retaking her persona. What is Rook? Nico says. Tsunade-sama wishes to speak with you. Captain Tenten signs and Naruto arches an eyebrow. She wishes to learn more about you. Jiraiya did not have forthcoming Tenten signs. Where is he? Naruto asks. Tsunade-sama attacked him a bit and Shizune is healing him with Tenten signs. Naruto sighs and wipes his face, where he asks, and Tenten hands him a slip. Alright, secure us a room for the day, I'll return soon, Naruto says, and both nod as he vanishes. Why were his tears red? Tenten signs. Nico looks up at the night sky with a sigh. We vampires can only weep bitter tears of scarlet, she says. Hum along, Rook, will secure lodgings, Nico says, and Tenten, as they drop into the street to hang out with civilians. Scene break. Tsunade downs a gulp of sake but looks up to see Naruto approaching. You have your mother's face and your father's eyes, she says. Naruto slips off his coat and drapes it on the chair, taking a seat and crossing his legs. So I've been told, Naruto says, slipping a cigarette into his mouth but doesn't light it. Tsunade does another shot of sake with a look at the blonde. He said it was grief, she starts, and Naruto scoffs. Grief made him tell someone their godchild was dead. I meant it. If your sensei knew about this, he'll die, Naruto says and frowns. I know I don't have a lot of love for Konoha, but I will fight to save him, says. Then I hope he doesn't, Naruto says, pulling out a scroll and unsealing some more vodka. Tell me, are you Kyuubi Jinchuriki Asos? Yes, my own father damned my life for the good of the village. Then the old man bowed to pressure and told people I was but kept my heritage a secret out of fear, Naruto says, downing a glass of vodka. I can't speak for him, but the village was in a dire situation, offering her cup and Naruto poured her some. Were you adopted? Kushina had a few close friends, Tsunade asks. No, I lived in an orphanage until I was a certain age. The matrons encouraged others to hurt me. Naruto starts and softly adds. How could sensei allow this? He's one man. An old man who couldn't watch 24/7, Naruto says, and starts to explain his meeting the queens, becoming a vampire, joining Anbu, turning his queens, killing, and meeting Karen. By the end had downed 5 glasses of vodka. How can such a thing happen, she asks. I do not know, but thanks to him I now have the power to protect myself, and I have dealt with the one who can do me harm. At least that bastard is dead now, says, and both clink their cups. Would you return to the village to at least meet Karen? She wants to become a medical combat ninja, Naruto says. Tsunade slowly drinks her vodka while thinking, what about Orochimaru? He'll return in a week, she says. Naruto finally lights his cigarette with a small smirk. Let me worry about what he muses, as they continue to talk for a while. The pair separate and Naruto makes his way to find their room, but Tenten is asleep. Yugao was sitting by the window with her mask off. Good talk, she thought. We talked for a bit. She also agreed to come to Konoha to meet Karen, so our mission was a partial success, Naruto thought. Yugao moves off the windowsill and embraces her blonde. What will we do about Rick, she thought. We'll deal with it once we return. For now I want you to train her. She'll be joining Anbu, Naruto thought. Are you confident the Rook will take the forbidden apple? Yugao thought as Naruto lifted her chin to kiss her lips. We will see, Naruto muses. Over the next week they avoided the pair of blondes while they gambled with the younger constantly winning and the older one losing. Yugao spent the week training Tenten on proper Anbu etiquette, preparing her to properly join the corporation. The day before Orochimaru was set to return, Tsunade gave Naruto her grandfather's cursed necklace, along with the story behind it. However, the blonde vampire simply laughed and relished the chance to put it to the test. Scene break. Tsunade stares at the hole in the wall she created the week prior, with a blank look on her face, as the wind lightly blows. Footsteps catch Tsunade's ears, and she looks up to see Orochimaru approaching. So what is your answer, he asks. Tsunade pushes off the wall and slowly makes her way to him. I will heal you, but in exchange you are to leave Konoha alone, she says, and Orochimaru chuckles. Very well. Tsunade holds out her hands as they start to glow green and blue as Orochimaru smirks, but a kunai whizzes towards them, causing both to leap back. Kabuto lands on the wall next to them with a serious look as Orochimaru glares. To think you would betray me, Tsunade. Orochimaru hisses. The tension starts to rise as both glare at one another. This is your answer. You would try to kill me, but thanks to my trust in Kabuto he spotted your treachery, Orochimaru says. Yes, we're both from the medical corporation, so I noticed her violent intent, Kabuto says, but narrows his eyes as Tsunade's body starts to tremble. Small laughter starts to escape the blonde to confuse both, but the laughter becomes louder and more like a man's laugh. Ha 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 ha, good eye. But you made a critical error. Tsunade's not here, she says, as her form turns into Naruto, shocking both. You? Orochimaru hisses. Naruto shoots forward and tosses several kunai towards the pair, but both dodge and land on the wall. Don't run away again, snake face, your death like a man, Naruto shouts. Damn you, Orochimaru shouts, but is forced to dodge with Kabuto as Naruto shatters the wall they were on. He can imitate Tsunade Haime's strength. Orochimaru hisses. We should change locations, Kabuto suggests, and the snake nods as they rush off. Naruto grins and gives chase with a wild look on his face as they lead him out of the town to a more open area. Naruto flashes several signs and inhales deeply. Ton. Shinjuku, he thought, firing several blasts of wind. Kabuto and Orochimaru dodge them as they reach a large open area. This should be far enough, Orochimaru says. Kabuto reaches into his pouch and pulls out a food pill to eat before flashing signs, and his hands hum with a blue glow. Oh, so you're in the mood, Naruto says, reaching for him. Kabuto vanishes with a shatter of the rock he was on, but Naruto leaps as Kabuto appears under him to grab. Naruto draws his sword and brings it down to stab Kabuto, but he dodges to his left and Naruto gives chase. Kabuto uses Shunshin as Naruto swings his sword to appear behind the blonde and touches his sword arm as the blonde swings back, then catching his left leg as he passes with a skid. Naruto staggers slightly as he falls from his hand and his leg gives out, causing Kabuto to smirk. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then, sayonara.